So first I want to hope that you enjoyed your 3-day weekend. I'm going to return your quizzes from last week. So this is the 8 o'clock, this is the 11 o'clock lab session. And for the 2 o'clock lab section, this Now in lab, you've been writing lab reports. I've asked you to write a group lab report. I know, and you found too, that it's difficult to revise a report that you've written in your lab notebook. So what I'm going to have you guys do for your lab reports is use Google Docs. Has anyone used Google Docs before? No? Google Docs allows you to share your documents. So instead of rewriting on a piece of paper your lab report, you can revise online in real time. So for example, if you decide, actually I'll show you mine. One thing with Google is that, well, at least in the past, you had to have your own Google account and have a Google email address. You don't have to do that anymore. So if you want to sign up, note that you can just use your own email and just have your own password. Okay, so you don't have to have a Gmail account to sign up for Google Docs. Let me show you my Google Docs account if I can remember my, if I can remember my password. Okay, so for example, these are the lab reports from the Chem1B class. I won't show you theirs, but this is just one. Okay, so for example, here's a template for a lab report, and what you can do is you can share that. So for example, note that currently it's private. I'm the owner of that document, and what I can do is I can add people to share this document with. And all you got to do is just type in their email address. Okay, so if you want to write a lab report with your lab partner, you'll share that with your lab partner. Just type in their email address, and an email will be sent to that person, and then you can share that lab report that way. Note that the revisions are done in real time. And the other thing too is that Google saves any revisions, usually like every minute. So if you're like me, you forget to hit the save button, it'll actually save it for you. Okay, if you can do that. Also, when I'm looking at it, there's this comments thing, so click on show comment stream. I can write comments on here. And the person you share it with can write comments. Okay, so this allows you to be able to share that document. Also, what I like to see too is each person working on their lab report. So for example, in the file pull-down menu, click on revision history, and it'll actually show you the revision history. And the other thing too is that each person who revises has a different color type. So for example, if you're in black and the other person's in green, it'll actually show the revisions for each person in that color. Okay, so that way I can take a look at that. I can take a look at the revision history and make sure that each person in your group is contributing to that lab report. Okay, so for your next lab report, I'd like you to try Google Docs, and then you can just tell me that you'd like me to take a look at your document, or actually it goes, if you want to share your document with me, just type in again my email address, lye@hartnell.edu, and I get sent an email, and I can go to my account and I'll see this document in my Google Docs account. Okay, so again, for your lab reports, rather than doing it the old-fashioned way, by writing it on a piece of paper, you can present your table of data and results and your discussion on Google Docs, and we can save a few trees that way. Okay? So we'll try that in the lab. Okay, so let's review quiz 4. So the results of quiz 4 are going around now. Question 1 is from the textbook. It talks about time-release drugs. They showed this picture in the textbook. So in this picture, okay, so they show here a semi-permeable membrane. There's a membrane here. This is actually an elastic, impermeable membrane. And then this wall here, between the elastic membrane and the drug, this is a rigid wall with tiny holes. And then when you ingest the drug, what is the environment surrounding the drug? It'll be okay, so the simple we can say this is water. Okay, and then here is saturated NaCl solution. Now the problem that many students have in an introductory chemistry course, or for that matter a science course, is trying to figure out which concept or which topic is related to this question. If it's a calculation question, then what equation to use? So the question has a few clues. Note that this is a semi-permeable membrane, so when you see this term semi-permeable membrane, which topic or concept can you think of which involves a semi-permeable membrane? Yes, this involves osmosis. Now, in osmosis, what substance passes through the semi-permeable membrane? The water. Okay, so again, water is a substance that passes through, nothing else. If you have an elastic impermeable membrane, what passes through this impermeable membrane? Nothing. Okay, so if it's impermeable, nothing passes through that thing. Okay. Then with the rigid wall with holes, and you know these tiny holes, that's, well, either something's going to go, if there's tiny holes, either something's going to go in or something's going to go out. Okay? So, if water is between the semi-permeable membrane and the saturated sodium chloride solution, will osmosis occur? And if so, in which direction will water pass? So we'll go from left to right or right to left? It's going to go from, so it should go from left to right. So the water should pass through the semi-permeable membrane into the saturated sodium chloride solution. Now, as water fills this portion of the drug, what's going to happen? Yeah, so that should push the elastic impermeable membrane, and what's going to happen to the drug? It should, yeah, so it should push out the little tiny holes in the device. So this is the time release system here. So this is actually an example of well, I'll call it bioengineering. Because you know that the drug companies these drug companies or pharmaceutical companies, you have the pharmaceutical companies, and then the biotech companies. Does anyone know the difference between a pharmaceutical company and a biotech company is? Well, actually, both these types of companies can make drugs. Turns out that pharmaceuticals, they actually use small, relatively small, but they make small organic compounds. Whereas the biotech companies, they make the compounds from a George. No, well, bio means biology. So they make these drugs from like some biological organism, either from a plant or something like that. Okay. And the other thing too is when a drug is made, you know how much it costs the typical cost to make to get a drug approved by the FDA into market?
Not a lot.
And how much is a lot? No, not $500 million, $500 million. Yeah, so typical cost is $500 million to $1 billion to get a drug to market. Okay, so that's why the blockbuster drugs, Lipitor, which is a cholesterol-lowering drug, or Viagra, those cost a lot of money, and if this drug company can make one of those things, they're going to make a ton of money for themselves and their investors. Okay, so that's why, making drugs, I'm not talking about this. Making drugs is a big money business. Okay, so if you can come up with a small organic compound or a molecule you can make from some biological organism, you can do well for yourself. Okay, so anyway, making the drug is only part of the process. The other thing